Is David Moyes being pessimistic or optimistic? Not optimistic, realistic
Realistic.
about his comments in the middle of the week. We'll be discussing that on this edition of Friday Night Live. We'll be finding out who we could play in the Europa Conference League. The draw is next week. So we'll be going through the results of the first round of that and the Tottenham game, of course, and amongst other things. Welcome to Friday Night Pint. My name's Nicky Hawkins. I'm here with a couple of the crew. You've noticed I've been missing for a few weeks, so it's nice to be back. But yeah, Ryan's here and Dan's here. How you doing, boys?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I've just not long been home myself, so literally come in, had a shower, got ready to do Friday Night Pint with you boys. Got me a pint of Guinness here. I'm on the Guinness lately, so I'm enjoying it. So
nice.
That's all the Irish followers.
Sit, mate. No, it's been busy. I've been everywhere from Manchester. I was up in Tottenham yesterday filming Bloody Toes. Been all over the place, travelling around.
I went out for a few cocktails last night. I was 3 sheets to the wind, man.
Yeah, I know. I was with you.
Yeah, I know. I was, I'm a little bit worse for wear today, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'm absolutely shattered, mate.
Yeah, it was a good evening. Thank you very much to Jack he didn't invite us. We bought the tickets, but for entertaining us for the evening. But so let's get straight into this, boys. We've only got an hour, so let's have a look. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us in the comment section down below. Let us know what you've been doing during the week. We'll be reading out your comments as we go. But we've got to talk about this David Moyes situation with these comments now. I mean, we've all seen them. Let's see how we'll go through it individually and see how we broke down these comments, how we saw these comments, how we took these comments. Let's start with you, Dan.
Yeah, it was an interesting because a lot of people were saying on Twitter were complaining about, and others were going, "Oh, if you read the article, it's better if you read the article than just take the comments about we're kidding ourselves, if we think we can be competing every season." And you read the comments and the full article and you think, okay, he is breaking it down a bit more and being realistic and other teams are challenging. But the thing what he doesn't mention is the fact that we've spent £180 million in a relegation battle. He's putting that tone across as if we can't expect to be competing up at the top, challenging for Champions League every season when, the realistic, we're not expecting to be in a relegation battle. That's what we wasn't expecting. So it's sort of smoothing over things, papering over the cracks and trying to be like, well, it's just how it goes, isn't it? And nothing we can do. And I think he's sort of shirked a little bit of responsibility there. So I wasn't a big fan of that, especially coming off the back of the Noble comments, and everything comes across like there's a lack of ambition right now at the club.
Why did you take them comments?
I'm going to be totally honest with you, mate. I ain't seen the comments, so I don't know what was said, but going by what obviously Dan's saying, he sort of, as Dan said, papering over the cracks that we're in a relegation battle. We spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money under Pellegrini, and we found ourselves in a similar situation. Sometimes you bring in signings, and with what we've been through the last couple of years, we was expecting West Ham, especially adding what we added to in the summer, to be challenging at the right end of the table. And look, I can't say nothing about Europe because we're going brilliant in Europe. We won every game, so it's the Premier League where the problem is at the moment. But yeah, if that's what he said, it's mixed, really, isn't it?
Let me just read you a little bit of the article that we read today. Let me just take some of these comments because I don't want to misquote him or anything like that. But this was an article in a website called Court Offside. It says, according to a recent interview, West Ham manager David Moyes has hinted that his time at the club may be drawing to a close. So it goes through a little bit, just to give a little bit of context. He acknowledged his progress that the team has made during his tenure, including avoiding relegation, earning a place in Europe, and making it to the semi-finals of a European competition. However, he has also emphasised that the team's success has not been a given, and that maintaining a high level performance is difficult in a highly competitive league. So he says, we avoided relegation. We took them to Europe the next year. We get to the semi-final of a European competition. We finished 7th the second year. So the perspective has been made, has made me say, yeah, you know, if you're going to come to West Ham and expect to do 6 or 7 years where you're competing at the top, I think you're probably kidding yourself. And I think that with anyone with any real football intelligence will probably go along with that. Because just look at the sides at the moment. Look at the form of Newcastle and other teams. Brighton have had an incredible run in what they've done. Brentford and Fulham are doing well this year. So you've got no entitlement to be where all the time. And when you are a club have probably never been there, well, there's a good chance that you could probably drop out of it. So we've had a couple of incredible years, which has meant I'm more relaxing. You know, if it didn't work here at West Ham, then fine, you know, you take it, and that would be it. There we go.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. It's even, you know, I never fully broke down here, and you say that. I like it even less hearing it like that. My interpretation of it, and it's just very defeatist, very, like you said, negative. You know, like, well, we can't expect to be up there. So if we're down, you know, a club like West Ham, you know, you have a couple good seasons, and you've got to be happy with that. And the idea is that he talks about wanting to build a new West Ham. He contradicts himself all the time. What about this new West Ham he's looking to build? Is that the new West Ham? Because what he's saying is that's the old West Ham. And he's saying you can't expect to be citizen charity. He hasn't come out and said, but what I want to do is I want to change this culture. I want to be I've got a plan so we can recruit better. We can get our youth, you know, bringing them through, and we'll consistently try and challenge up them ends. He's just like, West Ham, you can't expect it, you know. So look, if it ends tomorrow, I'm happy with what I've done. That's not a manager that you're looking at for the future of this club at all.
The thing is, like what David Moyes has said is what we've all grown up with. That's what we've been watching West Ham teams do for years. 1 good season, 5 bad seasons. Like, I'm not saying we've got to accept it, but we've got to realise that, you know, like last season we was lucky because we had a team. We didn't really add much to it, but they clicked. They played well. Other teams didn't strengthen. This summer, teams have strengthened. We've strengthened. It hasn't worked out. So, yeah, what David Moyes has said is not. It's not what we can't say we ain't used to, but it's not what you want to hear him saying. So, I can understand why it gets mixed reviews. Of course, you know, I want to see my manager being a lot more positive. But as I find, sometimes when you're positive, you don't always get good reactions.
I am a little bit caught in between here. I must admit, I'm on one hand, I think that he's being realistic in the fact that that's the history of the club. But that being said, you know, the whole culture of the club was meant to be, and what we was meant to be doing, and what, you know, the way we was meant to be going is to be going forwards. And this is not going forwards for me. This sounds like a manager that he's trying to. No, I wouldn't say buy himself time, because when I'm reading into some of these comments, I think he's going to jack at the end of the season. That's what I think. I think that he's going to jack it in at the end of the season. It sounds like someone that knows that he's taken the club as far as they can, but I also think that it's someone that's trying to buy himself a little bit of time until the end of the season, saying, look, don't expect too much, which I think, when you think about the whole thing, and I know we've gone over this a million times about the move, about this, about that, you know, but realistically, we've seen that this team can compete. We've seen it. We've seen that they can compete with the top teams in Europe, or the second tier top teams in Europe. We've seen that they compete with the top 5 or 6 in the Premier League. You know, form is temporary, class is permanent, and it doesn't seem to me that he feels like there is any class. He thinks it's just form, and it's such a a kick in the teeth, I think. And I think because you got to remember, this is a manager that before the Arsenal game was telling everyone that we're still competing for European places.
Yeah.
And you know, what's it, 10 games on? And now, you know, you shouldn't expect too much. This is West Ham at the end of the day. And I don't want to hear that. It's you know, it's not that I don't believe it and I don't think that's the truth, but I don't want to see the top brass at our club, the people that are meant to be, you know, the people that we've lauded up as you know, bringing a new era to West Ham and a new aura to West Ham and changing the mentality of the players and changing the mentality of the changing room. I don't want to hear them saying, you know, you can't expect to compete. That is a loser's attitude.
Yeah.
And I do understand that, you know, by definition, and please excuse me for saying this, and I might upset a few people when I say this, we have been losers. We have been. We've had these attitudes as, you know, we shouldn't be competing at the top. And I know it's a billionaire's playground now. And I know that there's so many, you know, factors that are ipso facto into football these days, like the takeover of Newcastle. Nobody in the world could compete with the money. Nobody. But I do also feel that there is ways to build a squad. You know, you need to build around players. And it just seems to me like he's just lost all confidence in himself, all confidence in his squad. And when you're in a a relegation battle, you know, when you're in a European battle, it's a different kettle of fish. But when you're in a relegation battle, you need to be spreading positivity. Every single team around us at the moment has changed their manager. They've changed their manager because the managers are not getting results and they can't get a response out of their team. Now, I said this the other day when we was doing the preview, me and Scott. Our form has picked up a little bit, but we are not getting enough points. We're getting too many draws, and I don't believe our performances have merited some of the results. The only reason we've got some of the results that we've got is because we're better. You know, the other teams were worse. Not that we've got better, the other teams were worse. We've had a couple of good draws, like the Newcastle draw. You know, half of performances have changed. But this is not the sort of message you need your manager to be spreading when we are in a relegation battle, because he's basically saying it's okay to foul. It's only West Ham.
Yeah, and done it before.
That's not what we bought into. That's not what we pay our money for. We want to be competing. However unlikely he thinks it is, the man at the top of the club should be spreading the positivity. This isn't fucking good enough. I've seen the levels that we can get to. I've seen the fucking levels that you know, these players can reach. We are having a bad dip in form. I know we can get back to the top. I just know that, you know, even if he doesn't believe it, that is the sort of message he should be spreading. He shouldn't be spreading, oh, well, it's West Ham, you know, you have a good season, you have a bad season, you know. I think it's just spreading a false message to the players. It's sort of letting them off the hook, because I think they've, you know, a lot of them have been to blame. It's trying to get himself off the hook, and it's trying to get the board off the hook. And can
you imagine how the board feel if you're Krasinski and Sullivan? I've just give this guy nearly 200 million quid, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, we'll be like this. We're the same old West Ham. It's like, we ain't spent all that money, invest all that money for you to deliver the same old West Ham. When we signed him and he didn't come in going, yeah, looking forward to taking over West Ham. I expect to deliver, you know, the same old. We'll have a couple of good seasons, few bad, you know, same old. So if he'd have said that at the start, everyone would have been like, what is this going about? But now he's saying it in the bad patch, just because it's right and that's what we have been, don't mean you can defend it. It's even worse. Like you say, you know, fans get slated when they're negative, and he's being negative. And yeah, I just think, you know, we moved to this stadium to have ambitions of being a different West Ham. We can't look at ourselves as that same West Ham because we gave up so much to progress. So our expectations and our standards have to be higher now, even though traditionally history, you know, we haven't been that team that's been up there season after season, but we want to be. And what you should be saying is, look, it's not going right now, but I believe I can dig us out of this. And, you know, with the right plan, the right strategy, these players coming good, we can be that team competing season after season, because you want the fans on side. You want fans believing in you. How can you believe in this guy? Like, oh yeah, it's West Ham. This is what we do. No, it's bollocks, man. It's absolute bollocks. That's a man on his way out. It's a man who's given up. And at that point, honestly, end of season, I'd let him go. I think at
the end of the season he will go, whatever happens. But I don't think he's given up. I know that obviously what's been said is not what we want to hear as fans, and I totally understand that. For me, 2 back-to-back European campaigns that we're doing well in, we are in a better position. It's just our league form that's letting us down, and unfortunately, you have to be in the Premier League nowadays. So we need to get that form right. I know Nicky was saying about, obviously, have we turned the corner? Look, we're not losing. We need to be picking up wins. Of course we do, but we're not losing. So if you're not going to lose, get a point. We've got some good points this season. We've gone to the last couple of games, Newcastle away and Chelsea at home. If we can get a result, even if we get a point against Tottenham on Sunday, coming out of them 3 games without a defeat will be massive. And then you look at the next 4 or 5 games after that. But we do need to start picking up the 3 points as soon as possible, because we've been lucky the last few weeks, because the teams around us, I know Everton got a good win the other week against Arsenal, but no one's really starting to pull away, are they? But eventually 2 or 3 of them teams will start pulling away, and then you'll find yourself in that bottom 3. So we do need to start picking up a win, and what a place to start on Sunday. Hopefully we can get 3 points in North London.
That would change. I think that would change a lot about the sea. I think that would really rejuvenate us, a win there. A win would give the fans, everyone a big lift and a big boost.
I'll be honest, I think even a point at Tottenham would be a good result. I really do.
I think we're good
enough. I think we're good enough to get the 3 points on Sunday, because one thing with Tottenham...
I disagree with him. I don't think we're good enough.
What?
To get 3 points. I think we'll be lucky enough.
I think when you look at Lloris being out, they've got Fraser Forster, they've got Bentancur out, some of their injuries, Conte is, a mess right now. There's no better time for us to win at White Hart Lane.
This is the thing. When I look at Tottenham are probably the only Premier League team that when we're going into a game, I sort of look at the opposition and I think, I couldn't work Tottenham out this season, because one week I watch them and they look a top 4 team, and then I watch them last week and they look like they should be in where we are, in the bottom 3. They went to Leicester and got absolutely hammered, but a week before they're beating City 1-0. And that's the Tottenham I can't sort of work out this season. And I'm hoping that the Tottenham that turned up last week turn up this week, because I think that we can go there, we can frustrate Spurs, and we can get a result there. So, but look, if you offer me a point at Tottenham now, of course I'll take it. Of course I will.
Look at it this way, right? And Tobe said this on the preview I did with him. Every year we do a preview for the game at Spurs. He's always confident. He's always, we're going to do you. We're going to smash you. It's the first time he's nervous, and Spurs fans are nervous about us going to their ground.
Because I think
that is bullshit. That is not.
No, but the thing is, can I just say, I think even
in this ground, yeah.
Even Tottenham fans that I talk to, like that I know, they can't work out Tottenham this season. It's like someone just said there, like, draws are bollocks. What would you rather lose then and not get a point? We all want to win, but if you're not going to win, get a draw. So points ain't bollocks. Draws ain't bollocks.
No, but I think it's context, isn't it? Because you look at that and you go, like Newcastle, point away, great. Chelsea, point away, point at home, okay, great. Spurs away, point, great. But if we don't then start turning that and go, like Scott said this on the preview, if we get a win against Forest at home, we look at those draws and go, do you know what? That's a decent return. That's a decent run. Beat the team. If we don't beat Forest, then that looks fucking awful.
I agree. And if you can go to places like Newcastle and pick up points against Chelsea and Tottenham, then you should be confident enough to go and beat Forest at home. You should be. But this is football, isn't it? One week, as I said, I'm talking about Tottenham. One week you beat City, the next you're getting hammered at Leicester. It's what I'm saying. Tottenham are the only team that I can't work out. I don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up on Sunday.
No.
Because they could. I watch Tottenham some weeks and I look at them and I think, do you know what? They've got some they've got some good players. You know, they should be a lot higher than what they are. And then I watch them the next week, and I said, like, they should be down there with us. Even their own fans are saying that.
You have to exploit their weaknesses, and that's that, and that's what, you know, when it comes to. I mean, we'll get into the Tottenham game a little bit later, but this is what it all comes down to the Moyes factor. Is he brave enough to go and exploit the weaknesses? Because the weaknesses are at the back, which means he'll have to attack.
But their weaknesses are also in midfield now.
But that's it, isn't it? It's winning the midfield battle and attacking them. Because if we go toe to toe, if we both go defensive, we'll lose the game.
Well, that's it. And the midfield,
lose the game.
The midfield, right? Then is he going to be brave enough to go? I'm not going to go with Souček. I'm going to go with Downs or a Fornals or even a Lanzini, and go for it on the front foot next to Rice, obviously. And that, you know,
I just feel like, and I hate to be a downer. I really do, because the last couple of years, David Moyes has been phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal. He's probably been the best manager in my lifetime, and he's given me some unbelievable memories. And I'll always. Your
lifetime? You sure about that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure John Lyle was manager in your lifetime.
No, he wasn't.
What?
No, he wasn't.
What? How old are you?
40, mate.
Yeah. John Lyle was.
I don't remember the John Lyle years, but I'm just saying.
But he was in your lifetime.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Who managed the boys 8 of 86? Who was the manager?
No idea. I don't know.
John Lyle.
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
John Lyle, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, but even still, I don't remember it. I was too young to remember that. I was only 3.
I think it was like, was it 1991, 89? It was like around that period, because Billy Bonds took over from John Lyle. But yeah, and
didn't Lou Macari manage?
Lou Macari, then Billy Bonds took over from Macari, didn't he?
Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't remember it. I'm just saying the football that I've watched in my lifetime. He's given me some of my best memories. I don't remember the 86 season because I was 3 years old, too young to remember it. But regardless of whether John Lyle was alive or whatever, I don't remember us being managed by John Lyle. So it's pointless. And so what I'm trying to say is, since I've been going, and I've been going since I've been going since I was 10. In 30 years, he's given me some of the best memories that I've had going to football, European semi-finals and things like that, going to Germany for a place to play in Seville again, going to Seville and over 2 legs beating them. It was phenomenal. But I don't know where this has all come from. I don't know whether he's got a message. I don't know whether he's just fed up with the players. I don't know whether the players have just, turned on him. I don't know. I don't know. But look, we'll see what happens, but it's not good for me.
The thing is, someone just said there, like what Jimmy Greaves says, football's a funny old game. I mean, we could be sitting here at the end of the season, finishing 12th, but we could be talking about, we've just won the Conference League, and everyone will forget about where we're finished. And you know what I mean? Football is a funny game, but it's look, we do. Performances have been a little bit better lately, Players are starting.
Let me just take. Redknapp did nothing, finished 5th, and built the future England team. Finishing 5th didn't do fuck all for you then. Nothing.
We couldn't. We didn't even. We still had to qualify for the UEFA Cup back then.
Yeah, but that's not his fault, is it? That's not his fault, though, Nick. Is it? It's not his fault.
Dan, he didn't really build the future England team, did he? Come on.
No, but he brought through some of the best youngsters we've ever had in our academy. Pardew got us to an FA Cup final. Playing
Redknapp years for me was some of my best memories, because it was when I started going to West Ham, and you see the likes of Canio and players like that.
He also was the driving force behind selling a lot of them.
No, players. I don't think he was the driving force. It was.
I think he was.
Terence Brown was a big driving.
Did you see the story yesterday that he might be taking over at Leeds for the rest of the season?
No.
Yeah.
Get the old man back together.
He's too old, man. He needs to just enjoy his retirement.
Look at this. Look. Now you're talking shit, Nick. Moyes is garbage. You've got short.
Look, I don't think anyone can deny
memories.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can deny like what the the big games and the experiences we all experienced last season, especially in Europe. You can't deny that. Whatever you think of David Moyes, them nights were great. You know, I remember us being at the Seville game after, and how buzzing we were when we come out that ground after, and then doing the watch along and things like that, and then when we beat Lyon 3-0, and then and even in the Premier League last season, some great results. That's the difference when you look at the results. Like last season, we went to Newcastle and won. Chelsea at home, we won, but we've dropped 2 points this season in both them games. That's the difference. Like we're games we were winning last season, we're losing or drawing them now, and that's the difference. We're taking a sort of step back. We're going backwards in the Premier League. Europe, you can't. I mean, let's be honest. Europe hasn't really been a competition so far. We've swept all them teams aside. We won every game. We smashed the league. It will get difficult as we go further into the competition, but you can't deny it. Whatever you think of David Moyes, he give us some great memories.
Yeah, he did. But no, he did. But I think people they put him on a pedestal, and I think diminish managers like Pardew, who also gave us some great memories and came within a whisker of winning the FA Cup and played. This football has been some of the worst football I've ever seen at West Ham. And that includes...
I'm not having that.
You're having it.
I'm not.
You're having it. How not? It's awful. It's awful.
If you think, Dan, with the greatest respect, Matt, and I know you pay your money like I do. If you think this is some of the worst football that you've ever seen at West Ham, then you haven't watched enough football at West Ham.
Mate,
it's awful. No, I'm not. But what I'm talking about is, I'm not talking about us.
Don't tell me that fucking when we had Kovacic fucking running around in the centre of midfield and fucking and people like that.
No, I'm not talking about being shit, Nick. I'm not saying this is the worst West Ham team. What I'm talking about is it's boring football. It's boring. There's times we've been shit, but guess what? The football was more entertaining. We would fly up the pitch and attack. We would concede probably 4 goals, but I was entertained. I felt like my team could score.
You're entitled to your opinion, mate, but I've seen some fucking dross there. Allardyce was a fucking nightmare.
No, but let me tell you something.
Yeah, I don't think Allardyce was as bad as some people say. I think
he got the results. I am a...
No, I mean, some of the performances under Allardyce, like when we had Sacco Valencia down in just behind them, we was playing some really good football under Allardyce.
That was some of the best football I've seen at West Ham. That period, with the diamond formation, that was some of the most entertaining football I've ever seen.
Yeah, but there was times when I thought it was fucking awful.
Boring. This is boring. Yeah, Allardyce had some boring games. I'm bored. This is really some of the most boring football. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't sit there and put this up there as some of the and not say, I'm not saying hands down with, definitely it's the most boring football, but it is some of the most boring football I have ever seen watching West Ham. Boring. And the amount of goals we've scored speaks for itself, and I'm just saying that's got to be a factor. And I can give up the entertainment factor if we're getting results. If we're not getting results, at least let me be entertained. That's what Moyes fails to mention. We used to have a few good seasons, few bad seasons, but we played better football a lot of the time. Even when we were shit, I was entertained a lot more than I am entertained now being shit.
Nick, do you remember that season under Avram Grant?
Yeah, I do, mate. Unfortunately, I do. I do remember that season under Avram Grant. I remember the end towards Pellegrini when the likes of Roberto was slapping it in his own net. Like
even towards the end of Zola's reign at West Ham, because I thought one thing with Zola, when he first come in, he brought through a lot of youngsters, and we was playing good football under it. Like you had Collison, Sabrin Hines, Stanislas. We was playing Bellamy as well when he was there. We was playing some different football under Zola.
Come through Zola.
Who?
Tompkins.
Yeah, Tompkins. Brought Tompkins, which when we lost 3-0 at home to Wolves, and we're fucking hell, man. I've seen some
Elliot Ward. I think he was one, wasn't he? Was that a bit earlier?
Elliot Ward come through under Pards.
Listen, we had a lot of years being shit, but at the same time, I used to go to Upton Park and I used to enjoy myself. I used to be on, I used to stand up, but you'd be on the edge, the same time, and feel like you could score. You'd feel like you could win the game. You feel like anything could happen.
Yeah, growing up as a West Ham fan, I remember going to Upton Park as a youngster, and even if you was playing Liverpool, United, Arsenal, you'd have a shit season, but you knew you was at least going to get a performance against the big boys, and you'd nick a result off of United, and it'd be massive. You'd be talking about it for weeks, like, oh, the champion, we've just got a point, or we've just beat Liverpool at home.
That was the West Ham we knew. We'd lose to like Wigan or something, and then beat Man United the next week. And that's them. And like I said, we're in this ground, and we're going to talk a little bit about the sanctions and things they're doing to make it even worse. But I'm just saying there has to be something. Right, if we're not going to have entertaining football, let's have some results. If we don't have results, let's match day experience. Something.
Sorry, let's move on from this subject. I mean, there is a lot of people really divided in the comments. Can we take some comments?
Go on, yeah. Let's take some. You've started a load.
Do what you want, mate. I'm going to sit here and sip on my Guinness while you read them out.
Let's get Amaditz has got a couple. If he's saying that, maybe the club's ready to sell up. I hope so, mate. Let's be honest, we're a worse team with £180 million spent. And to be fair, these transfers haven't worked and these injuries don't help. I agree. We got old Mick. Good old Mick. I'm not saying he's old, but good old Mick. I sense that Moyes is going to retire from management end of the season. Odd, but I know. Interesting take, mate. Interesting take. That would be a surprise. Just when Moyes brought back a few fans. Yeah, he's not done himself any favours. Moyes' interviews are getting like his tactics negative. I've given up listening to any of it. Will never change. A lot of people feeling the same way. David Moyes can't get out of his underdog loser mentality. Never believed anything caught offside have to say. Is that who he done the interview with? Was it?
No, he didn't do the interview with him. Dave was reporting on it, but whether it was caught offside. Sorry, I just clicked the first article that had that.
Oh yeah, it was in the Mail and everyone.
It was in everything. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. So caught offside are just reprinting that. It's true. There's no doubt about it. That what he said is true. They're quotes.
Yeah. You watch. We'll get draws against teams we expected to lose to, and we will lose to teams we expect to win. If that happens, it's bad form. Absolutely. Sullivan promised, I said, bring in a world-class manager to a world-class stadium and to challenge the top four every year. Yeah, I think he overpromised on that one.
I'm not sure he did promise that. I'm going to give him
well,
I don't think he did say a world-class manager and competing for the top four. He told us we'd be competing.
They said we'd get Champions League within 5 years.
To be fair, we ain't been far off.
No, to be fair. Yeah, exactly. I don't think he's wrong, but I don't want to hear it from the manager, even if it's what he believes. That's it, motivation, Tony Wilkins, if you don't have any ambition, you'll never succeed. That's why Moyes needs to go. Wow, he really hasn't won anyone over with these comments. If we got a manager who accepts where we are, we have already lost.
I agree with that statement. I agree with that.
Looks like Manure is going to be a big force, 100% buyout. Breaking news on Sky Sports. So it looks like Man United are getting the new owners to Qatari. He's talking bollocks, in my opinion. I've had enough of these arrogant interviews and negative football. Can't wait to have an attacking, exciting manager. Let's hope, mate.
Yeah, can I just read this as well?
Go on.
I'm just looking on breaking news. Lee Mason, the video assistant referee, leaves PGMOL and will no longer work on the Premier League games after offside error cost Arsenal against Brentford. We'll talk about that in a minute. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No.
Here's Jeff.
Yeah. So, yes, Nicky, he's letting himself off the hook. He knows deep down that he's failed with this team, and 170 million spent in the summer has gone to waste because of his tactics. I agree, personally. We were expecting VR quality from an Atari with Moyes. Little gaming analogy there. If he was my manager, where I work, I'd find it hard to motivate myself and push on when it doesn't sound like the manager is up for it himself. Yeah, there is a knock-on effect with the players, I imagine. It don't give them up. We've got Super David Moyes, for fuck's sake, turn it in. For fuck's sake, I hate that song so much. Not because I think David Moyes, I just hate the song. Red 5, I don't think we should give him the time of day. He's trying to provoke the fans because we've called him out as a one-trick pony. A few more left. Feels like he knows his time is up and he's now putting it on the history of the club and the fan base. Negative mentality breeds negative actions. We've seen it all season. Moyes pre-match talk on Sunday. Go out and try and give the best, lads, but no worries if you lose. We are West Ham at the end of the day, so it's what we do. 2 more here. We will always be grateful for memories. Sevilla away being my first European West Ham experience, but think his time's up. Spot on, Ryan, regarding Allardyce. And finally, Josiah, £5 super chat. If I was the owner of West Ham, I would give West Ham fans something special. And if I would change something, I'd bring us back to Upton Park. Well, I tell you what, I hope you win the Euro Millions, Josiah, and take us back, mate.
You have to win the Euro Billions, mate.
Billions, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, pretty unanimous, I think, in fans' thoughts and feelings on Moyes' comments there. It's quite surprising. So yeah.
Well, I was going to come on to the comments about the ground, which we will do, but shocking that Lee Mason sacked after costing Arsenal some points. Funny, isn't it?
Interesting.
I mean, look, I said this last week. We're 3 years into VAR now. If these stupid mistakes are still happening, just scrap it. You know, it's ridiculous now. I mean, how can you forget to draw the lines when your job is to draw the lines? You know what I mean? What did he do? Go like that? Oh, fuck, I ain't got a pencil. And just fucked off. Like, what stupid is it? Like, and you look at the...
How can you... When you're looking at a screen, mate, I'm not meant to be funny, right? Well, what did he do? Look at it and go, what am I meant to be doing here?
Mate,
I'm meant to do something, but what am I meant to be doing? I'm not sure.
Well, didn't it happen in the Brighton game as well? Didn't they forget to take into account that there was another striker standing there? They didn't see the striker standing there or something.
It's ridiculous.
I don't think it's... Look, these things can't be on purpose. They can't be by accident, mate. They can't be by accident. I'm sorry, but they can't be. Like, it's fucking corruption.
To be fair, Lee Mason has done the whole country a favour.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, mate, but it's not right.
It's not right. And joking aside, it's not right because a decision like that could cost Arsenal the league title. A team that hasn't won it since 2004, and you know it's massive decisions like that. And this is what I'm saying about VAR. If that would have happened without VAR, and the decision would have gone, you'd have just gone, okay, human error. We move on. It's happened. But when you've got the technology there to slow it down, all you've got to do is draw a line, and you can't draw a line, mate. You've got to draw a line somewhere, and he's obviously drawn the line, and he's lost his job. So
yeah, I do find it quite interesting, right? That you know, there was a similar incident in the Brighton game. I don't know who the referee was in that, but their name hasn't been mentioned about getting the sack. There was also several. What about the Chelsea game when they admitted they got it wrong after the fouls? Who was the VAR referees in? Nothing was mentioned. All of a sudden, they cost Arsenal 2 points, and he gets a tic tac.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's highly.
I was saying this the other day. I was saying this on the podcast the other day with the thing about referees is like, you know, when we came up against Chelsea the other day, he was a very weak referee. Very weak referee, yeah. If it would have been, and they removed someone from the Merseyside derby because he had a weak performance a week before, and I'm like, referees, and I mean this with the greatest respect, referees should be randomly picked every week. You should never have the referees handpicking the referees that go and referee certain games. They can't turn around and go, oh no, Lee. Because one, you're admitting that them referees are not fucking good enough and not fit for purpose to referee the big games. And two, you're basically saying this game's more important than that game. No game's more important than anything in the competition. You know, that if a competition's running, every game should be the same. Every game should be randomly selected. I don't give a fuck what the managers say. I don't give a fuck what the fans say. Every single game should be randomly selected. A referee should be randomly selected for that game. They should not be saying, oh, let's give a bit of a stronger referee for the Man United Liverpool game. No, get better referees if they're not good enough. But just randomly select them. There should not be these handpicking because look, we say a lot about corruption and all this sort of thing. I mean, I know, people on our channel keep on going on about that sort of thing, but this sort of thing does not fucking help. It doesn't help when, you know, they're hand selecting referees to referee certain games. Randomly select them. Draw them out. Do like, you know, like the lottery, you know, when it's Guinevere and set balls number 4.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've also got to avoid
draw them out on Sky Sports every week. What referee's going to be doing what game?
Yeah, but if you've got an affinity with, say, Manchester, or you're from Manchester or something like that, you can't. I think that's all. You can't manage a Man United game. That's what a lot of managers pretend. Like, you know how Mike Dean says he's a Tranmere fan and stuff like that. He can't ref a Tranmere game, and there's still rules that say you can't ref this game because of affinities and that. But just on the lines thing, I really don't think
if they don't think referees can be unbiased to every game, then they shouldn't be refereeing.
Well, I think no, but this is the thing. It's conflict of interest, and that's just rule. In my job, we have it. And as much as I wouldn't, you know, give favoritism to one people because I work for the company, it's just something you have to do. Is conflicts of interest. But just on the lines thing, the thing on that, my honest belief with offside is you shouldn't have to draw lines. If you cannot see with your eye that that's offside or not, then give the goal.
Sometimes they draw the lines when it is really like inch, like millimeters. It's like
I just think give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker. If we have to go millimeters and inches and we have to really measure it like that, just give the benefit of the doubt.
As a neutral, it's easy for us to say that. But if that was the last minute in the FA Cup final and that cost West Ham, you'd be saying a totally different.
No, but then you could say that. Yeah, we could say that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you should just scrap it and go back to human error, because human error can be forgiven.
Because then it was come down to what it was the same thing. It was the eyeball test. The liner would look at it, and you know he'd raise his flag because it looked or it didn't look. So, but you never see it.
Look at the linesman we had the other day for the Chelsea game. He got every decision spot on, and they was bang on. And do you know what? I've looked at it this angle loads of times. I mean, the Souček one, you know, some people saying it hits his hand, it hits his knee. So when people say it hits his knee, I look at it and think, oh yeah, has it his knee? And then someone says it hits his hand, I go, oh yeah, has it his hand? It's one of them ones. It's so hard to tell because the defender comes across, but it's look.
But that's why they that is an instance, right? And this is what I'm saying. Like when it comes to, you know, making the decision. This is it, isn't it? Like, it's contentious. It's still, even though them angles is there, you can't 100% tell from every angle that is hit his hand. You can't tell. So they have to give the decision to the benefit of what the referee's decision is made. If he'd have pointed for a penalty, and that replay was played over and over again, they would have said it was a penalty. Because he's not seen it as a penalty, they've gone with the referee's decision. That is the right thing to do because
that's why they keep playing clear and obvious. That was the thing, wasn't it? If it's clear and obvious error, they overrule him. Like Ryan said, knee, hand, it's not clear and obvious.
I totally agree. You've got to go with a referee what he decided at the time. But that's why, like sometimes when the referee goes over to the monitor and he changes his mind, it's like they should say, no, you've made that decision, you stick with it. It's like they're trying to influence, like, no, look, Man United need the points. Go over, have a look, give them this penalty. Or, you know, no, I'm not, I just said Man United because it was just off the top of my head. I'm not saying that they've been, well, let's be honest, they have been fucking doing it for years anyway. Fuck them. I'll tell you what, me and Nicky were talking about this last night, mate. Man United, 6 points behind, haven't got to play Arsenal or City. could they fucking be in there? Could they win the title?
I'll tell you what, that would be
huge.
That would be huge. Ten Hag would need a statue, right?
Mate, I'll build it myself. I'd put a statue of him outside London Stadium. No, honestly, that would be mad because they haven't got to play City or Arsenal anymore. They've played them both now.
And City and Arsenal got to play each other again.
Exactly. Yeah. And if they just keep going on and on and on, I'm like, and they've got Marcus Rashford at the moment he's in great form. So it's going to be a good end to the season, but I just hope we can be enjoying the title race, being sort of like away from the relegation zone, safe. Looking forward to a European final and an FA Cup final as well. I ain't greedy, but yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Has anyone seen? We'll come around to this just quickly. Has anyone seen the comments about the ownership of the stadium? Dan, have you seen anything on this?
The ownership? What? Someone owning a new ownership or something?
Well, the LLDC apparently is collapsing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's been quite a discussion about Kretinsky's involvement in meetings with the LLDC, perhaps trying to get the thing. Maybe it's something to look at next week because I'll be honest with you, it came on my lap late and I haven't really seen it, so I wouldn't really want to.
Yeah, I mean, they've been. I was watching. I actually watched the video where they had the meeting. I don't know what the organization was. I think it was a strand of the mayor's office or the government or whatever. They were interrogating Lynn, I forget her last name, from the LLDC, basically asking things like, why aren't you sorted a naming rights deal out? Why aren't you asking West Ham to pay more money? Like loads of ridiculous stuff. So the LLDC are really under pressure. So yeah, but that don't surprise me. And I really think they're just trying to find a way to give up this stadium, but save face and not look bad doing it, and people causing outrage. And it's a matter of time, I think, before they do sell it or give it or whatever.
Let me just respond to this comment. Third time, Nick, you're going to Spud Outline. Sorry, I haven't interrupted our broadcasted plans to answer your question if I'm going to White Hart Lane. Of course, I'm going to White Hart Lane. I go to every away game.
There was also,
sorry about that.
There's also a good comment that we didn't interrupt, but someone else that's called you the Big Lebowski, and that cardigan.
What, because it's cardigan?
Yeah, the Big Lebowski cardigan, Jeff Bridges. That is almost exactly the cardigan he had. So, yeah,
the dude abides.
Great film.
Yeah. Let's have a look at something a little bit more positive. The Europa League, Conference League. First legs have gone up, have been played. That was played last night. Do you want to hear some of the results?
Go on. I haven't seen this. This is new to me.
Right. Bodo Glimt 0, Lech Poznan 0, Braga 0, Fiorentina 4. So you're going to have to think that Fiorentina.
The way you're reading now, I thought you were going to say Paul's panel home win.
You got to think Fiorentina through there. Larnaca, right? 1. Dnipro 0. Lazio beat FC Cluj 1-0 at home. Ludogorets beat Anderlecht 1-0. Quaraberg beat Ghent 1-0. Sheriff lost 1-0 to Partizan. And FC Basel beat Trabzons. FC Basel went down 1-0 to Trabzons. So the most interesting one in there, right? The most interesting one in there is that if Larnaca go through against Dnipro, yeah? Prepare yourself for this, everyone. If Larnaca go through against Dnipro and we get drawn against them in the next round, there will be a few hundred at least West Ham fans going on an away trip to Ayia Napa. Ayia Napa is the closest sort of resort to there. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that one.
Yeah, I tell you what,
ain't the season over? It should all be it'll all be shut up. There'll be no clubs open. We'll all just
open it again when the Irons go over there, mate.
I tell you what, yeah, people will go over there even if they ain't got a ticket. They'll go and soak up the atmosphere. You know, that'd be brilliant. I tell you what, listening to those names, mate, we've got to at least get to the final. If we don't bloody win it, I think it's a crime. At least get to the fucking final.
Honestly. It's not that; it's the next round, isn't it? Where you get a lot of the bigger teams coming. So we should be like we should be good enough to definitely be in the semi-finals, looking to get in that final. With the way we've gone about the group stages, you know, no one got near us. You know, we absolutely smashed it, won every game. You know, so you got to have confidence going into it. That's why by the time that comes around next month, you want to have a couple of wins under your belt, so we're not just concentrating on the Premier League and sort of push this to one side, because that's one thing I would hate, is to take our eye off of this Europa League. Conference League. I wish it was Europa.
It's our best chance of getting European football next season. It's our only chance. Sorry, not our best chance. It's the only chance we've got of playing.
It'd be interesting because, like, you got teams in there like Fiorentina, Lazio. You know, I think Villarreal are still in it as well. They come into it when we go into it. So some big teams still left in it. Be interesting. So yeah, long may it continue.
See, be very interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, you want to talk about this stadium? Oh, well, one Nicky's yeah, we'll talk about this stadium situation. What Nicky alluded to about. God, sorry. Yeah, we'll talk about this. Right, West Ham, the stadium owners are apparently trying to go into enforce once again fans seating again in the lower tiers, where fans have been obviously standing again. They tried to do it first couple of seasons, especially my area. It all kicked off. I'm 6 rows from the front. Always kicked off, trying to make everyone sit down, threatening fans with all sorts of penalties and things like that. People didn't listen. They just left us alone in the end. But now they're trying to sort of look to enforce it again.
And these things with the council and that have been rearing their head. I remember getting letters, the same letters, when I sat in the Bobby Moore lower in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I got the same letters. If you don't sit down, we'll be taking your seat number and you'll be indefinitely banned. You must sit down. They're playing lip service to these fucking twats that don't really understand football. At the end of the day, right? And stadiums have got it now. If you're that bothered by it, get the safety people in and install safe standing now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously where we sit, obviously there's no standing where we sit, but I look down where you sit, and obviously everyone stands. Everyone's happy to stand. Everyone wants to stand, so let them stand. There's no ag. They're not causing no aggro. I can understand if like you had loads of people behind you that wanted to sit and they couldn't see. But from what I see is that everyone stands up there. So everyone knows that you go there, you're going to stand up. Like, so I don't understand like why they have to start doing all this bollocks. As Nicky said, though, maybe
health and safety wankers at the council. They
well, it's not. It's the Stadium Safety Advisory Group.
Yeah, from the council.
And yeah, this came from a meeting, and this is
they've been having the same meetings probably since the fucking 80s, mate.
Well, I mean, you know, we've had this problem with the stadium because our stadium, we don't own it. It gives us something a lot different than at Upton Park. It's a lot of a much different situation because we don't own the stadium. But they're meeting with the Premier League about potentially banning protocols, looking at banning protocols, people persistent standing. So that meeting is took place. This is on the 26th of January. So I don't know what came out of it. Issues raised by fan groups. This is interesting. No issues noted. So whatever fan groups they met with and discussed this with, the fan groups didn't raise any issues about any of this, which is alarming.
Hold on a minute. What are you reading here?
This is what Scott sent in the group chat. This is the document from the...
Check the date on that. He's probably sent something from 1984.
Do you know what, right? I was looking from this. That was a meeting in December. Yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah. Yeah, because it talks about the meeting being with the Premier League on banning protocol being January 23. So they're seriously looking into this. Obviously, we've had the whole barrier where they put up the walls. That was the first thing they brought in this season between the away fans and the home fans, which wasn't popular. And this just feels like a progression of that. And honestly, if they do try and bring that in, it's just not going to go down well at all. Honestly, especially down where I am. Honestly, and that's the thing, because if they bring safe standing in, they're going to put it in a section. Say they decide safe standing is going to be, at the Trevor Brooking lower, where the mixture fans, sit and all of that. That's all fine and dandy, but then my block, we're still going to want to stand. Because that's
I don't see how they can. And I've always said this, I don't see how they can physically impose these sanctions on home fans standing when you're never going to get away fans to sit down.
Exactly.
I don't see the difference.
They've never tried.
No, I do not see the difference. If they're standing up, then they should be able to stand up. It might actually create a bit of a fucking atmosphere over there for a change. But as I said, it's lip service. They're playing,
I mean, they're spending a lot of money and time on lip service, to be fair. I mean,
they always do. They always do, mate. As I said before, I wouldn't listen to it. It's all bollocks. As Nick Tucker said, he said it's every ground in England has his bollocks and have done since the 80s.
But we don't. That's what I said. We don't own our ground. That's the problem.
Job worth moaners. Political correctness gone mad. Steve Tyler. Look, Dan, we've had these issues, mate. They're not going to be as stupid as to start sending in the MMA fighters again, because their MMA fighters got their asses kicked the last time they tried to send them.
But what they're exploring bans. They're exploring issuing bans.
Yeah, they're always exploring issuing bans.
So that will be interesting. If someone does get banned for that first person, that'd be interesting to see how people respond. Let's hope we just get the bloody say. I can't stand it. It's the worst part. We always have some bollocks with these stadium owners, and it's honestly insufferable. I hate not owning our ground.
The Prem won't bring back standing by standing. People are more rowdy. Sitting down is more sedated and keeps people from going mad for 90 minutes. But surely that's what they want. That's what they sell their tickets on. They can't stop Nicky standing. That's his human right, says Callum Gray. Well, I'll be honest with you, mate. I sit in the upper tier because I prefer to sit down.
Yeah.
I'm on my feet all the time. But there we go. That's basically the show. We are playing Tottenham this weekend, so please look out for all the content. Do you know what? I've got one more thing to bring up, actually. Did you see, and this is not West Ham related, what's his name, the fucking Spanish correspondent from Sky Sports?
Oh, yeah. It's like Guallenbag, is it? Guallenbag?
Who? Harrier Bag?
Yeah, is it Guallenbag? Gillenbag or some shit.
Gary.
Like
Let's call him Gary. We know him. Let's call him Gary.
He's sitting there. I've got to laugh at this. Jamie Carragher, I do like Jamie Carragher. He absolutely embarrassed this guy, because this guy, Galambala Ballbag.
That's not his name.
Gollum Ballbag. It's Galambala Gay, isn't it? Or something like that. His name is
Gary.
Gollum Ballbag.
Yeah, so he's basically sitting there. And I believe he's a Real Madrid fan. He's obviously like a Spanish football fan, right? And he's sitting there, sort of saying, I don't see how we can carry on with this Champions League the way it is. Like Premier League, financially, they're running away with it. We can't compete. What they should be doing for the Premier League is sort of distributing the wealth across Europe so it makes it more competitive. And Jamie Carragher's basically saying, what? And he's like, yeah, because we can't compete. We can't compete with the Premier League and all that. And he's like, why should the fucking Premier League be subsidising for the last 60, 70 years, Real Madrid have come in and bought anyone that they wanted. They've taken the best players away from the Premier League, the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Owen and McManaman and, things like, why should we be subsidising it? Oh, to make it more competitive. And Carricker came out with a great quote, and he turned around and said that Barcelona and Real Madrid don't even do that in their own league. Why do they expect Europe or the Premier League to fund the rest of Europe? I thought it was an absolute cracking response. I thought it was. But did anyone see it?
Yeah, I see the clip. He absolutely ruined him. Honestly,
ruined him.
And you could see he didn't know what to say afterwards, because it's right. It's just sour grapes. And that's what he wants. Carragher said, you just want to go back to when those teams were dominating and had all the money and were the richest clubs. That's what you want. You don't want fairness and parity. Otherwise, you champion that in La Liga, and you don't. A hypocrite.
There we go. We do play Tottenham at White Hart Lane this Saturday. Obviously, look out for all the content that's already gone up.
Make sure you get your suits ready for our cup final, mate, as it's always known to the Spurs fans.
Yeah.
The
only thing that worries me about Sunday is that Richarlison hasn't scored a goal all fucking season in the Premier League. And you know full well he's even a banger hat trick or something like that. It's fucking. But yeah, I'll be honest, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to getting there because the trains are all up the fucking Swanee again.
Yeah.
But we will be there. We'll get there. We will be there, and we'll make sure we get there. It's not exactly far, is it?
The thing I said this on my preview with Toes, right? If we do not put Fraser Forster under pressure and just pepper him with shots at goal, we need our heads testing, because, like I say, he goes down in slow motion. We don't do that enough.
Mate, I see some of them goals he conceded last week. He went down in installments, mate. He was like Klarna. He went down in installments.
Yeah,
he was bad.
That's what I mean. So we have to put him under pressure. We have to test him. We have to make sure we're getting plenty of shots on target, and we don't do that enough in games. This is the game. Set pieces from open play. Create.
You watch, he'll have the game of his life.
Yeah,
now done like Messi. But look, with Spurs, whatever form they're in, when you've got someone like Harry Kane up top, you've always got to be aware. Like Son,
I agree, man.
They've got some talent in that team that can destroy anyone on their day. So look, it's about you need luck on the day as well. Listen, if you offer me a 1-0 Antonio now, I'll take it. In fact, I'll moonwalk all the way back from North London to East London with a big smile on my face.
I agree with that. There's nothing I can really add. It's it's a game that could go either way. I don't know. I don't know how this one's going
to. There, Nick. Or it's a game of two halves, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it's just it's a very Michael Owen quote, isn't it? It's a game that can go either way.
Yeah. If you don't score, you rarely win.
Yeah, but I don't know, mate. I don't know what to think of this one, to be honest with you. Coming out there with something would be okay, but we should be trying to exploit, the problems that they've got. But I'm not sure that we will. I'm not sure.
You've got two teams that are going to try. They're going to try to exploit our weaknesses, and we've got to try to exploit them. So it's who wants it more at the end of the day. And
I love the comment right on in the preview Nicky done, and it was like Nicky says it's going to be a boring game, predicts 2-2.
2-2. Yeah.
4 goals. I'll tell you what.
What do you mean?
You said at the start of your preview, it's going to be a really boring, drab game, and then you
what I meant to say is it could be a very boring, drab game if both teams go in defensive. But I do think it's going to be a 2-2.
It's goals, I think both teams are going to be, especially if Aguerd ain't playing, defensively weak.
Well, he was training today, and Scamacca was training. So, and David Moyes seems to do this, doesn't he? He will say people might not make it, and then you see him in the starting lineup. How many times have we looked at a team sheet when he's come out and thought, "Fuck me, where did he come from?" So if Aguerd being back would be a massive, huge boost. Scamacca, if he's on the bench, is there's even Paqueta could make the team. It would not surprise me if we do see him in the team on Sunday.
Yeah. Fingers
like,
crossed.
Whatever you think of David Moyes, he does like these little mind games with other managers. You've seen him do it so many times. But yeah, I mean, people saying Paqueta is out, other that he's not as bad. And listen, until that team sheet comes out, you can't say who's in or out, apart from Cornet, because no one knows where
even make it.
Yeah, he's
I'm
out.
starting to think Cornet's a myth.
Cornet's gone somewhere with Graham, because we ain't seen Graham for a long time either. So
Yeah,
Cornet and Graham
like
have started up their own channel.
Yeah, it's like a unicorn. Just I've seen it. You know, people claim to have seen him once or twice, but I can't recall it. But I don't know.
Yeah. Well, good show.
There we go. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Friday Night Pint Live. As I said, do check out all the content that we've built towards the Tottenham game. If you haven't caught the podcast, if you're a patron, there is a new podcast on there, and there is every single week. So go and check that out as well. We'll be going to White Hart Lane. What we can do there, I don't know, but we'll try and get something. We'll get some sort of content after the game anyway.
Shite Hart Lane.
And then let's keep our fingers crossed for 3 points. Thank you, boys.
Both previews. Head over to TalkSport in 5 minutes. I'll be on there live in 9:15 as well.
Boo. TalkSport shit.
Talk shit.
Talk shit. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. One thing left to say.
Come on, you guys.